Hello, Year 9. I'm just going to go through with you the slides for the lesson on your P paragraphs on the question in front of you. How does Steinbeck present Crooks at the beginning of chapter 4? We're going to go through the prep work together, and I'm going to show you a model P paragraph response that I have written so you know what the expectations are for the end of this work. Go back through the contextual information that you have again and be reminded that Crooks's character is informed by this contextual information, okay? The abolition of slavery, how slaves were treated, how then Black people went on to be treated at the beginning part of the 20th century and beyond, of course, as we know now. You need to be aware of this contextual information because this is the character that Steinbeck uses to explore these issues, how people react towards Crooks as a Black man, how Crooks reacts towards others as a Black man, and the embedded atmosphere that there is within the community on the ranch because of these contextual issues. So have that because it's very, very important that this links to your analysis of the characterization of Crooks. You have your extract on Google Classroom. We've already started to explore this extract, but I have gone on and I have highlighted key evidence that you can use to explore for your P paragraph. That doesn't mean you can't use other evidence in there that you think might be appropriate, but this is just to support you and start off so you've got some evidence you can look at for the question on Crooks. You've also on the left-hand side got some thinking questions. You don't have to make notes on these, but they're just questions for you to think about as you're exploring the extract. How is Crooks acting at the start of the extract? Why does he feel this way? Why does he feel comfortable around Lenny? Does this link to racial prejudice? How does his characterization change by the end of the extract? And explore how you feel as a modern reader, and might this be different to a contemporary reader's response? So thinking about if you were reading it at the start of the 20th century and how we read it now, and that's important to the model I'm going to show you. You have already created your word bank on Crooks with your initial inferences, and all of this language can be used within the P paragraphs to take your interpretation further. So whenever we do prep work, make sure that you're going back to it, you're using it, you're referring to it to really pack out those P paragraphs when you come to write them. So again, there's your question. How does Steinbeck present Crooks at the beginning of chapter 4? As we go on with our exploration of Mice and Men, we'll start to draw on points from different parts of the novel. We'll look at how characters change, how the story arcs, etc. But for now, I just want you to have some extended writing practice, evidence analysis practice on this particular section. You've done your A Lot About a Littles. We did this one together as a class in a class model Zoom. And you should have 4 of those of your own ready to use for your A Lot About a Littles, for your P paragraphs. And that brings us on to the model paragraph that I've written for you. You're going to be writing 3 P of your own. This is just a model of 1. This is just a section of extended writing. We haven't done the conclusion or the introduction, but this is the main bulk of the extended writing. So, how does Steinbeck present Crooks at the beginning of chapter 4? At the beginning of the extract, Crooks is defensive and aggressive towards Lenny. This is evident when he sharply says, "You've got no right to come into my room." This suggests Crooks's character is always apprehensive towards other people's intentions, concerned that they are going to abuse him in some way. The adverb sharply tells us that Crooks is uneasy and being instantly hostile towards Lenny before he even is able to speak. In addition, Crooks quickly refers to his right, and he repeats this another 2 times, further suggesting his discomfort and protective characterization. He is concerned that his right can be taken away from him by the white men at any moment, suggesting to the reader that he is constantly having to justify his right to freedom, belongings, and opinions. Steinbeck is forcing a contemporary reader to think about the way they are treating Black people even 60 years after the abolition of slavery. Alternatively, a modern reader may be able to see concerning similarities between the treatment of Black people that is still in society now. On the right-hand side, you can see how the colour coding links to the different parts of the P paragraph. I've written a P paragraph in this precise format using the PEEE. As long as you include everything that's on the success criteria, you can write it in whatever way flows for you. But this is just a nice, easy way for me to show you that I've included everything that I need to include. So you've got your points in red, your evidence in blue, your purple is your explain. That's your basic PEE, okay? You've got to do that. That's non-negotiable. As you start coming through school, you start to use your language analysis, and I've included 2 pieces of language analysis in my green section. I've looked at the adverb sharply, and I've looked at the inferences I've made on right, okay? I've also made links to context in that section, so it's just embedded within my analysis. I've made links to context, which is also on the success criteria, but I haven't put in the explicit colour of its own. In the yellow, I've got my writer's intention, so what did Steinbeck want? And on that section, I've focused on a contemporary reader. And again, we spoke last week about alternative interpretations, and that's how you get the higher IGCSE grades. It's not by just sticking to one interpretation or one opinion. It's being able to look at an alternative. What else might the writer have meant? What else might connotate this piece of language? What else might the reader think? What else have I thought? So alternative interpretations are very important as you go on through your IGCSE literature. And that's that. You've got your success criteria here, and I just want 3 Ps, okay? Again, it's not a full essay because we're not focusing on the introduction and the conclusion, but I just want that main bulk as you're doing your online learning. So we have got our key question, how does Steinbeck present Crooks at the beginning of chapter 4? Can't forget your contextual information. You've got your extract and your thinking questions with that evidence already identified. You've got your word bank on Crooks, which you keep going back to, you keep using in your PEEE paragraphs. A reminder on the question. You've done your a lot about a little, and we did this model as a class on Zoom. You've got my model PEEE paragraph there. It's colour-coded so you can see the different sections, and I want you to challenge yourself to include as much as you possibly can while focusing on the question. And you've got your success criteria tick list there, and it's rated 3P. So, good luck with that, everyone, and I look forward to having a look at your responses. It's just very important in this time of online learning that you're still doing your extended writing, that you're still getting that time done, sitting there and writing your ideas, exploring your interpretations. That's something that we really can't lose, and you are so excellent at. I look forward to our next Zoom session. Thank you very much, and